It is important to think about how children's needs are understood and accommodated in society before the child comes to school. In this lesson, we will address the transition from home to school. The International Declaration of the Rights of the Child, which was adopted by the United Nations in 1959, and the South African Constitution identify children's needs as a child needs love and understanding, a child needs to be recognized as a person, a child needs to learn, a child needs clear guidelines, and finally, a child needs to be protected. Sean and Ugwebu presents a similar, more simplified model of children's needs. A child needs love and security, a child needs new experiences, a child needs praise and recognition, and finally, a child needs responsibility. The differences between the two lists are not significant, nor are they important for this discussion. What is important is that Sean and Ugwebu argue that to the extent that the needs are met, to that extent will the child be able to cope constructively with life at home and at school. They also suggest that these needs are needs of all children all around the world, but acknowledge that each culture will meet these needs in differing ways. Thus, in some societies, the need for love and security is met within a nuclear family or mother, father, and children, while in other societies it is met within an extended family system. In meeting the needs of children, societies also impose certain rules and codes of conduct on children and the people around them. Teaching these morals and values is what we call socialization. David Fontana, 1981, describes morals and values as those attitudes and behaviors that are generally prized by the society in which one lives. They may or may not be defined by rules, and these rules may or may not carry the force of law, but they are nevertheless seen by responsible members of society as having binding effect in matters of conduct and of interpersonal relationships. The generally held view among psychologists is that morals and values are largely learned structures, with a young child acquiring them initially from his parents and later from his teachers, peer groups, the media, and society generally. When children come to school, they bring with them many things, as you have seen, but it is a big change for them. There might be new rules, new ways that children are expected to behave, and a new culture. I want you to think about some of the things at school that may be different from what children experience at home. When children come to school, they are thrown together suddenly with children who may have different morals and values, different socialization to their own. In addition, the school itself may impose certain rules that use different morals and values as their basis. For example, a child may come to school believing strongly that it is right to share and help one's friends when they ask for help. Therefore, for this child to find herself suddenly in a situation where she's told she's not allowed to help her friend to spell a word in a spelling test, or is not allowed to share her crayons for fear of them getting lost, this is a big adjustment. This adjustment can take time, and for many children it can be a distraction from learning. Children who have to make big adjustments to the school culture may doubt themselves and feel as though they are different and are not good enough. These feelings can have serious effects on their ability to learn. We know that a low self-esteem can hinder the child's ability to learn. Therefore, it follows that a high self-esteem is likely to enhance learning. The child's self-esteem will be influenced partly by where he or she comes from, but in large part also by how he or she fits into the new school culture and how he or she adjusts to and gets along with other children and their teachers. It makes sense that if children's needs are met, they are likely to feel safer in the school environment, more confident, and therefore are likely to have higher self-esteem. Shan and Ugwebu believe that certain teaching strategies produce a general climate of optimism in the classroom, so that all children are encouraged to feel effective and worthy. They also suggest that if teachers meet the psychological needs of children that were mentioned earlier, they would contribute to children's high self-esteem. Remember the 4 needs that Shan and Ugwebu identified. They are the need for love and security, the need for new experiences, the need for praise and recognition, the need for responsibility. In the reading section, find this poster which you can display in your classroom or perhaps even in your staff room. A teacher who shows warmth and acceptance towards children will create an environment in which children feel loved. This is not the same love as children receive at home, but nonetheless it is likely to enhance self-esteem and encourage learning. Teachers also need to set clear limits for children so that they know exactly how they are expected to behave in different situations. You are well aware that children can learn through doing, through exploring, and by having new experiences. So, children who are active and engaged in the learning process are likely to find learning more meaningful and to feel a sense of their own achievement that they are unlikely to get from sitting passively, listening to someone talking. As teachers, you have to give children feedback, but you need to think carefully about when and how to give that feedback. If you give positive feedback when a child has not done a task well or has not made much effort, you are not encouraging children to try their best. In the end, children need to know that in order to do well, they have to work hard. It is only then that they will have a sense of satisfaction with their own progress. However, when you feel that they have not put enough effort into a task and have therefore not done well, you need to tell them in ways that do not undermine their self-esteem. You need to recognize their successes and their limitations and give praise when praise is due. You can encourage children to take responsibility in the classroom and at school in general in various ways. Shan and Ugwebu give 2 examples. One of the most effective ways of encouraging responsibility is to get the class to help set the limits of accepted behavior themselves. Rules are more likely to be obeyed if pupils help to set them up so they can understand the rationale behind them. But another equally effective way of encouraging children to feel responsible is peer teaching. In this way, you raise both knowledge of their effectiveness, if you like, enhancing self-concept, and feelings of personal worth, thus increasing self-esteem.